All right, today we're diving deep into one of South Asia's most dynamic economic powerhouses. We're talking about Bangladesh, and we're going to show you how to navigate its complex landscape to capture the absolutely huge opportunities waiting inside.
So, let me just ask you something straight up. Are you on the hunt for that next big market? You know, a place with incredible scale, crazy growth, and a ton of untapped potential? Well, let's take a look at the numbers behind what might just be your next big move.
Okay, first up, the sheer scale. We're talking about 174 million people in Bangladesh. That's a massive, young consumer base that is hungry for new products and services. But honestly, that's just one piece of the puzzle.
And that population, they're driving a GDP of over $450 billion. So this isn't just a big country, it's a powerful economic engine. We're talking about a market with serious, and I mean rapidly growing purchasing power.
So yeah, welcome to Bangladesh, a country where you've got manufacturing muscle, this huge demographic advantage, and a digital scene that is just taking off. This is the opportunity we are unpacking today.
Now those big numbers, they don't even tell the whole story. Behind them, there's this incredible tale of transformation. The way the world sees Bangladesh is changing, and for a very, very good reason.
For the longest time, a lot of people just saw Bangladesh as a low-cost manufacturing hub, and hey, it's amazing at that. But the reality today is so much bigger. It's a hungry consumer market for imported goods, it's a diverse sourcing hub, and it's a strategic gateway for business across the region. And why does this matter? Because now opportunity exists on every single side of the trade equation.
Okay, but let's be real. All of that opportunity, it comes with a whole lot of complexity. You can't just show up and expect to win. This market is buzzing with energy, but it's also crowded, and it definitely plays by its own unique rules. And these are the real on-the-ground hurdles. You're jumping into a hyper-competitive space with very cost-sensitive buyers. Success here often depends less on your spec sheet and more on your local network and trust, where, a handshake can mean more than a 100-page contract. So whether you're selling into Bangladesh or exporting from it, one thing is crystal clear. Ambition alone just isn't going to cut it. And this right here is the heart of the issue. Success depends on more than ambition. It depends on understanding demand, competition, and buyer behavior. In a market like this, guesswork isn't just risky. It's pretty much a recipe for failure.
So, how do you get that deep understanding? Well, this is where two really critical tools come into the picture: trade intelligence and market research. I want you to think of them as your map and your compass for navigating this new territory.
First, let's talk about trade intelligence. This is your high-level map. It's the tool that answers those big strategic questions. Where are the markets growing the fastest? Who am I really competing against? And what are the barriers I need to watch out for? It basically turns all that raw data into a clear direction for your business.
Then you've got market research. Now, if intelligence is the map, think of this as your local guide on the ground. This answers the crucial how questions. How do I actually find my buyers? How should I price my product to compete? And how do I position my brand so that it actually wins?
So let's boil it down to something super simple. Trade intelligence tells you where to play. Market research tells you how to win. And to really succeed, you absolutely, positively need both.
So what happens when you actually put these two tools together? Well, that's when you shift from just guessing to actually growing. And the benefits, they aren't just theoretical. They solve the most common and most costly mistakes businesses make when they go into a new market. Just take a look at this. Instead of exploring a market just because it feels familiar, you use data to find markets with real, actual demand. Instead of trying to sell the wrong product, you get a crystal clear understanding of what customers truly need. Your pricing becomes strategic, not just a shot in the dark. And all that marketing money? It gets focused on the buyers and channels that are actually going to move the needle. It's all about being smart, targeted, and incredibly efficient. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's what it looks like in the real world. A CEO who worked with experts on the ground saw their business engagement get stronger, and that led to real growth. Why? Because it was driven by insight, not just assumptions. That is the power of this approach.
All right, so we've covered the why, we get it. Now let's get practical and talk about the how. How do you actually turn all this valuable data and all these insights into a concrete, actionable plan for success?
Because look, the goal here isn't to have a big pile of data sitting on your desk.
The goal is to translate that abstract information into a clear pathway for growth, a step-by-step guide that takes you from where you are right now to where you really want to be.
And that pathway, well, it's a pretty clear and logical journey. It all starts with that initial strategic support. Then it moves to connecting you with the right buyers. Then it's about building out your distribution network. And finally, making sure your brand is positioned perfectly to connect with the local market. It's a complete journey from intelligence all the way to action. You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple truth. In today's hyper-competitive global economy, the businesses that win are the ones that build their entire strategy on facts, not just feelings or assumptions.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about for your own business. In a world where your competitors are using data to get smarter and faster every single day, can you really afford to just keep guessing?